The Andy Griffith Show was and remains a timeless classic, a series that evoked nostalgia across generations. It was one of the top shows of its time, never dipping below 7th in the ratings, and securing the #1 spot for its final season. Now, we're doing a look back at the cast of The Andy Griffith Show. So get your fishing poles ready. We're heading down to Myers Lake. Let's check it out. Andy Griffith as Andy Taylor. Born June 1, 1926. Andy Taylor was the composed sheriff of Mayberry who offered his counsel to everyday townsfolk as well as his young son, Opie, teaching about important lessons on character and values. Sheriff Taylor enjoyed the simple things like fishing with his son or strumming a guitar. Age filming, 34 years old. Andy Griffith decided to leave The Andy Griffith Show in 1968, ending the series. In the 70s, he appeared in miniseries like Centennial, From Here to Eternity and Roots, The Next Generations. Then in 1983, he was diagnosed with Guillain-Barré syndrome and was paralyzed for 3 months. Recuperation took 6 months of physical therapy. Soon after, his career bounced back. He starred in the 1984 miniseries Fatal Vision. He made a handful more media appearances, including in an episode of Dawson's Creek and in 2003's The Andy Griffith Show reunion, Back to Mayberry. Before he died in 2012 at age 86. Griffith married 3 times. The actor and his first wife welcomed 2 children together by adoption, Dixie and Andy Jr. Don Knotts as Barney Fife. Born July 21, 1924. For his role as Barney Fife, Don Knotts won 5 Emmys and he is widely regarded as one of the greatest comic actors of all time. Age filming, 36 years old. Knotts left the series in 1965, believing that the show was going to end. He signed a contract with Universal and appeared in movies like The Ghost and Mr. Chicken and How to Frame a Fig. Knotts also appeared in a series of Disney movies in the 70s, including The Apple Dumpling Gang, Gus and Herbie Goes to Monte Carlo. His next monster TV success was joining the cast of Three's Company in 1979 as landlord Ralph Furley. The man had a phenomenal career, though Knotts succumbed to complications of pneumonia in 2011 at 81 years old. Knotts was married to Catherine Metz from 1947 to 1964. They shared children Thomas and Karen. An actress, Knotts was married to Lauralee Zuckna from 1974 until they split in 1983. In 2002, he married Frances Yarborough, Frances Bavier as Aunt B. Born December 14, 1902. Aunt B was the paternal aunt of Andy Taylor and well known in Mayberry for her cooking skills. Bavier played Aunt B on both The Andy Griffith Show and Mayberry RFD from 1960 to 1970, making her the longest tenured character in Mayberry. She won an Emmy for her role in 1967. She also appeared in 1 episode of Gomer Pyle, USMC. Age filming, 58 years old. Frances first started performing in vaudeville, then moved to Broadway. She got her big screen break in 1951's The Day the Earth Stood Still. After some silver screen success, she moved to television with her first recurring role in 71 episodes of It's a Great Life. In 1972, she retired from acting and moved to Siley City, which was often mentioned as a neighbor of Mayberry. She died in 1989 at age 86. Aneta Corsaut as Helen Crump. Born November 3, 1933. Aneta Corsaut played Helen Crump at age of 27. Sheriff Andy Taylor's girlfriend. On The Andy Griffith Show, she had made her film debut in 1958's The Blob alongside Steve McQueen. Helen and Andy married in the first episode of Mayberry RFD. Corsaut continued to act after the series, appearing on episodes of Gunsmoke, Columbo, Emergency, and House Calls. She also appeared multiple times on Matlock alongside Griffith and Knotts. Corsaut never married and had no children, but the 2016 book Andy and Don: The Making of a Friendship and a Classic American TV Show, by Daniel DeVisse, claimed that she and Griffith had an affair while making The Andy Griffith Show. Corsaut died in 1995 at age 62. Jim Nabors as Gomer Pyle. Born June 12, 1930. Gomer Pyle was introduced in the middle of Season 3 and was a bit simple-minded with a childlike nature. Nabors was discovered by Andy himself while working at a Santa Monica nightclub. Age filming, 30 years old. Jim was pretty typecast as Gomer Pyle, so after growing tired of the primetime TV grind, he abandoned television for concert gigs and tours due to the fact that he was an extremely talented baritone singer. He then moved to Hawaii and launched a new live show which ran for 2 years. He continued to sing occasionally, but for the most part, was out of the public eye. His final TV credit was in the 1991 reboot of The Carol Burnett Show. In 2013, Jim married his partner of 38 years a month after same-sex marriage became legal in Washington state. They had met in the 70s when Stan Cadwallader was a fireman in Honolulu. Jim died at his Honolulu home at age 87 in 2017. George Lindsey as Goober Pyle. Born December 17, 1928, Goober Pyle was the slightly less dim-witted cousin of Jim Nabors Gomer. As such, he was the honest mechanic of Mayberry, providing a lot of comic relief. Age filming, 32 years old. Lindsey continued to appear on TV, including in an episode of MASH. He also voiced characters in Disney's The Aristocats, Robin Hood and the Rescuers. From 1972 to 1992, Lindsey also played Goober on the country music show Hee Haw. Lindsey was married to Joanne Herbert from 1955 to 1991 when they divorced. They shared son George Jr. and daughter Camden. He was in a relationship with Ann Wilson until his death at 83 in 2012. Betty Lynn as Thelma Lou. Born August 29, 1926. Thelma Lou was Barney Fife's girlfriend and had the pleasure of covering his face with lipstick. Too bad they never did get a wedding episode. Age filming, 34 years old. Betty Lynn began acting in 1948, one of her first roles being the original Cheaper by the Dozen in 1950. She scored a recurring gig on The Magical World of Disney's Texas John Slaughter. But it would actually be this contract that got in the way of a more regular role on The Andy Griffith Show. She retired from show business in 1990 and actually moved from LA to Mount Airy, NC to be closer to her fanbase. She died at age 95 on October 16, 2021 after a brief illness. Richard Keith as Johnny Paul Jason. Born December 1, 1950. Richard, 74, played Opie's friend, Johnny Paul Jason at age of 10, who was part of 13 episodes of The Andy Griffith Show. Richard Keith got this stage name with help from the legendary Dacey Arnaz, as Keith portrayed Little Ricky on both I Love Lucy and the subsequent Lucy Dacey Comedy Hour. Keith himself was a professional drummer since the incredibly young age of 3. He never had any professional training yet as a child, but played drums with the Horace Heidt Orchestra, making $500 a week. Take that, Opie. In 1969, Richard joined the rock group, David and the Giants, and today in his early 70s, Richard is also the executive director for his wife's ballet company, Ballet Magnificat. Clint Howard as Leon. Born April 20, 1959. Clint, who played Leon in a few episodes and went on to have a great career as well. Age filming, 3 years old. He was terrific in the late 60s show Gentle Ben and in a guest appearance on the original Star Trek, and he never stopped acting. From Apollo 13, directed by Big Bro Ron, to The Waterboy, Clint's been very active. At 66 years old, no doubt we'll still see Clint for years to come. Ron Howard as Opie. Born March 1, 1954. Oh, little Opie, the son of Andy. The legendary Ron Howard portrayed this typical and likable rural baby boomer. Age filming, 6 years old. He got his start in 1956, being brought to sets like Frontier Woman by his actor father, Rance Howard, and being used in The Shoot. Then in 59 at just 5 years old, he landed a recurring character named Stuart on Dennis the Menace. The following year he became Opie and the world knew his name, face and pretty much everything about him. Ever since Ron's 20s, he's slowly developed into a powerhouse director. He won an Academy Award for his direction of A Beautiful Mind and was nominated once again in 2009 for Frost, Nixon. Today at nearly 71, his more recent directorial credits include Solo, A Star Wars Story, 2018, Hillbilly Elegy, 2020, and 13 Lives, 2022. Howard married Cheryl Alley, his high school sweetheart, in 1975. They share 4 children, Paige, Jocelyn, Reed and actress Bryce Dallas Howard.